So, I'm going to try to do this in one take. This is just a real quick video. I'm making a drift car here on Beamng, and I've been running into issues with the suspension, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and spawn this vehicle home right now. Let me slow down time a little bit here. Now, this is obviously from a drop, but okay, you see how my rear suspension is actually braking when it lands? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you what that is, and I'm going to show you how to diagnose the actual issues of what's breaking, so you can actually go into the game code and either fix it that way or modify the actual stuff in game. So unfortunately, like in a lot of cars, if you go to vehicle config, you go to parts. Let me unpause the game for a sec. Okay, you go to body. I'm just going to go to rear suspension. You can put coilovers, sway bars, spindles, brakes, differential, and you can mess with the wheels and whatnot. And if you go to tuning, you can mess with obviously ride height, dampening, spring rate. Now all this is modded. I've actually turned all this up so that I can actually make everything much stronger, so the stiffer suspension and whatnot, and I've changed my roll bars. I've also changed my ride height. Right now the car, if I go ahead and respawn it here, let me go out of this. Get it in a spot where it's not gonna break. Okay, as you can see, the car is very low to the ground, and the front's cambered out. Like I said, this is supposed to be a drift setup. It actually does drift fairly good, but if I was to mess around here for a few seconds and just do some normal drifting, you'll see I've already broke the rear suspension. So it's got a massive amount of toe facing inwards on that tire. Let me take this out of gear and turn it off and put it in park. And what this is, if I go ahead and switch camera here, what this actually is that's causing this, as far as I can tell, is this right here. Now this is the part, as far as I know, this is one of the parts that actually controls movement in the rear wheels. Just like how in your front suspension, this right here controls, or this right here controls your movement from left to right. Okay. Well, this part right here, this actually controls whether or not your tire moves from left to right in the rear, and that's supposed to stabilize it and keep it from moving. And what's happening here is I've actually got the ride height so low that the parts are clipping into each other. Now this isn't that big of a deal if you've got stronger parts. If you actually go into the game code and you modify it, you can actually change it so that it's stronger. You can either make it stronger, or you can actually change. There's a code in there, it's called FLT_max, which makes the beam flat and at its max strength. If you do that, the part's going to become unbreakable, which is, that's all right and all. Let me turn the car back off. Now it came on. There we go. Oh, come on now. Okay, that is like really weird. It does not want to stay off. Alright, well, whatever. You're just going to have to deal with it because for some reason the car will not turn off. Like I was saying, right here what's happening is this is actually braking. And it's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't look like it right now. But if I go ahead and go back over here to this one, you can see that this one's deformed. Let me change the angle. And this one's deformed. Now this one has not actually broke yet, but it's very close to being broke. Unfortunately, when they break in this game, most of the time you can't actually tell it's broke. I'm going to go ahead and slow down time here just a little bit. Back out. change the angle just a little bit. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and slow down time. I'm going to grab the node here. Grab this one. I'm going to pull on this. And if you watch, you see it deforming? Let me do it again, pull on it a little bit harder. And now it's actually broke, and it's very easy to tell that that piece is broke. So what needs done right now is I need to go into the code and actually change it so that it's not going to break on me. I'm not 100% sure where this is in the code. I'm going to have to find it. But most of these things you can actually change. That's something that obviously, like this right here, this is your roll bar. This is part of your strut, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not any kind of a suspension auto tech. This is your drive shaft, obviously, and this is the A-arm, if I remember correctly, and this is what I believe is part of your control arm system. So this needs to be fixed, and I'm going to have to find the code somewhere and turn it up or make it unbreakable, because obviously, as it stands right now, that is just completely shearing off. Well, at least when I pulled on it, it did. And it's the same thing that's happening to me when I go to actually drift sideways. It puts too much pressure on it because my ride height, like I said, is just so low that it's already putting a lot of pressure on the parts. Unlike real life where you could actually change the parts out, you can't do that in this game. So everything is what it is. You can shorten it, I think, through the code somewhere, but I'm not 100% sure how to do that yet. But if I go ahead, think. Let me see here. Yeah, this car is off the ground. So if I just sit here for a second and watch, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse 100% here, but there's these parts. These are the bolts for the A-arm. When this suspension drops to the ground, when this snaps, the bolts are actually coming out of place because it's got so much force on it. So not only can this snap, but I'm having issues where actually the bolts are having too much force on them, and it's causing that to snap. And as you can see right here, part of your control arm, yeah, that's part of the control arm. This is actually coming out. So all this stuff has to actually be fixed. Now, if I was to raise my ride height, it wouldn't really affect the car so bad. And I could do that. That wouldn't be that hard to do, but then it wouldn't get that cool effect, and it would actually have a negative effect on how the car drives, which I'm trying to get it to go in a specific way right now. I want it to go sideways and be controllable without spinning out. So that's pretty much what's going to have to be done. I'll go ahead and go to a different camera view here and reset the car. Just do a little bit of driving here. And as you can see, as I've got it right now, it's not that bad. Even with the spoiler that I've got on the back has actually been changed, so it's got very little drag and very little lift. The tires and the rims on here are stock. They're pretty much just the way they are. I haven't changed the code on it. The engine's got 10,000 RPM, so it's a bit more than it was originally. I've actually changed the idle RPM, so now it's at 3,000. That's kind of weird. There we go. And pretty much other than that, everything's fairly the same. The bumpers they're metal now instead of plastic. The spoiler's metal instead of plastic. Some of the things actually can break easier. Bumpers deform a little bit easier. My glass shatters a tad bit easier. My front, let me actually run into something real quick and I'll show you. My headlights, instead of being plastic, which they are stock in the game, they're glass now. So if I run into something, they shatter. Or at least they shattered. So those are the things that I've done to it so far. Other than that, it's pretty much just a standard car that you'd see. I'm going to go ahead and end this video right here. If you wanted to know what you were having problems with in your suspension, now you know how to diagnose it and how to figure it out. I'll make a video later on actually showing how you can go into the code and fix this. You all have a great day.